Hello, guys. It's Mrs. Z. It's a grade 5, mission 5, lesson 11, exit ticket. To find area, Andrea tiled a rectangle and sketched her answer. Sketch Andrea's rectangle and find area. Show your multiplication work. Rectangle is 2.5 units by 2.5 units. So what that means is that the rectangle has a length that is 2.5, and width is also 2.5 units. So because I'm going to use inches, I'm going to call those inches. So it could be any inches, but Mrs. Z going to do the precise work, so we will do the inches. So the first, we're going to do the length. I use this margin here to make a parallel to edge. So when I make this 2.5, this is 1 inch, 2 inches, and 3 inches right here. The half is right here. So this is 2.5 inch. Okay, now I'm gonna do down as well, a little big. I'm gonna do also let's make perpendicular my ruler, and then add a little bit line, and then now I can do 2.5 inches down. So I'm going to do so it's right here. So 1 inch, 2.5 inches. Okay. So here, this is 2.5 inch, and this is also 2.5 inch. Okay. Now let's connect and create those. I'm going to, all right, take this a little bit longer. And what I'm to find the area of this rectangle, you can draw a picture or you can do standard algorithm. So 2.5 times 2.5 would find the area of this this shape. So 2, I can do vertically line. I can do let's do horizontal first. So this represents 1 inch, and this is 2.5 inches. And then I'm going to do another that's vertically columns, 2 whole inches. And now I can see if I label this 1, 1 and 1/2. So, and this one is 1, 1 and 1/2. You can see that if this is 1, so is this, so is this. So the rule is 1 length times width. So 1 times 1 is 1. And again, 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, 1 times 1 is 1. And 1 times half, this is a half, and this is 1. So 1 times half is a half. And again, because this is the 1, so is this, so is this. This is 1, so is this, so is this. This is half, so is this, so is this. And if you look this is a whole, and whole, and whole, and then this is half, half, and half. So you can, for yourself, if you like, you can put these values around. So if that is gonna help you to know what you needed to multiply, just for first few times, you can do that. If you, and then later on you won't need it. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times half is a half. And then half times 1. 1 times half is a half. And then also 1 times half is a half. And now this is half, so is this one here. So this little square here is actually half times half. So if you make like this, 1/2 times 1/2 is really 1/4 of the square, because numerator times numerator, that's 1. Denominator times denominator, that's 4. So this is 1/4. So right now we can combine parts and we can figure it out answer. So here is a 1 whole square, 2 whole squares, 3 whole squares, 4 whole squares. Half and half, these two will make a whole, and these two will make a whole. So we have 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3, 4, 5, 6 wholes, and then we have here 1/4. So we can say the answer is 6 whole inches and 1/4 of an inch. So 6 whole square inches and 1/4 square inch. So we can say here units, if they say just a units, squared units, or we could use Mrs. Z's, because I was using inches. I can say 6 1/4 squared units. 6 1/4 inches squared inches. Okay, that's one way of showing the work. Okay, now let's prove it. Area equals length times width. Now, to save the time, the length is 2.5, and the width is 2.5. So I'm going to give you two solutions. One with distributive property, partial product, or one with changing the holes into the parts. So if this is 2 holes, I can change the holes into the halves. So 1 hole, look, 1 hole, if this is the hole, 1 hole has 2 halves. If that's circle or square, it doesn't matter. It could be this way. So it has 2 halves. So if I have 2 holes, I will have a 4 halves. So 4 halves, let's do it. Area equals 4 halves plus 1 more half that you had. That's your, and again, this is 4 halves. The 2 holes, what you are doing is now 2 holes, they become 4 halves. We cut them into half, whole, cut into halves. And then you had already half, so that means you have to think about that as well. So 2 holes is 4 halves plus the half that you already have. So together, area equals 5 halves times 5 halves. And now you use rule for multiplication. 5 times 5 and 2 times 2, which will make 25 fourths. Okay, now if you have 25 pieces of 1/4, that means that you can decompose this, like you can think about 24 fourths. That will give you a 6 holes, and then you will have 1/4 left, which is exactly the answer that we have. So now if you do this, what 25 fourths, if you separate 24 fourths plus 1/4, this is again 25. Look, 24 plus 1 is 25 fourths. But you know then 24 divided by 4 is 6. Or if you have 24 pieces of the fourth, you can make 6 holes. And then you will have 1/4 left. That's one way of doing this, by changing the holes into the parts and use the rule of multiplication fraction by fraction in order to get our answer. Another way is to use distributive property, which you will say, I will move it down, this one. So if I use distributive property and I say area equals 2.5 times 2.5. Okay, I can use this 2 plus 1/2 times 2 plus 1/2. Now, each number from one parenthesis, like 2, has to be multiplied with every number in other parenthesis. I'm going to use this yellow arrows. So it will be a 2 times 2, and it will be 2 times half. Okay. Also, the second number is half, so I need to do half times 2 and half times half. So this is the first number with every number of in this parenthesis. This is our second number, and you multiply by every number in the second parenthesis. By using the arrows, it can help you to figure it out. So area equals, let's do 2 times 2, 2 times 2, plus 2 times 1/2, 2 times 1/2. And I'm done too. Now I'm moving to half. So now it's a half times 2, or a pink arrow, 1/2 times 2, plus 1/2 times 1/2. And I have to now solve it. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 halves. If you have 2 halves, you have a whole. Or what is 1/2 of 2 is 1. So you can go this way. 2 halves, or what is 1/2 of 2? It's 1. And also, what 1/2 times 2, or what is 1/2 of 2, or what is 2 times 1/2? Again, it's 1. And then the last one is numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 2 is 4. The final answer is 4, 5, 6, and 1/4. 6 and 1/4. And that is exactly the same way the area with the picture, the area to changing into the parts, the holes into parts and multiply, or use distributive property and multiply. Okay, so that is a 6 1/4 inches. And this was exit ticket lesson 11. Okay, so I'm gonna make it smaller. So that was this. Thank you for listening, guys. I hope this makes sense, and which strategy best works for you. It's your call. All right. Love you. Bye-bye. I can put inches, square inches, just to make precision. All right. Square inches or square units. Now we are done. All right, guys. Have a beautiful rest of the day.